those of you who stateside, and good evening to everyone in Afghanistan and other parts of the world. I'm so grateful for all of you to have joined us. Today, we're all coming together to celebrate 140 Afghan women and girls, and they're going to reach an important milestone. Let's give them a round of applause. They have successfully completed the Eagle Tutoring Program, and we're proud to celebrate all that they've achieved. Their graduation is also the beginning of a new chapter for them. With the launch of the Eagle Online Tutoring Program, these graduates will have the opportunity to use their knowledge and skills as online tutors for Afghan families and living in the diaspora. As their learning becomes meaningful work, they bring today's theme from learning to the tutoring program to life. We are honored to share this moment and with them, our distinguished speakers and guests. The woman who has made all of this possible is Mojgan Wafik Alokhazi. Mojgan is a seasoned entrepreneur whose work focuses on economic empowerment, workforce development, and education. She's also a member of the U.S. Afghan Women's Council. Mojgan began her entrepreneurial journey in Afghanistan in 2004 when she opened the first cafe by women for women in Afghanistan, located in Kabul's Women's Garden. In 2007, she established the World of Women's Business Market, the first women's-led business shopping center in Kabul, which provided space for 33 women entrepreneurs to operate their own business. In 2008, Mojgan co-founded Impressive Consulting with her husband, and since then, the organization has trained more than 3,000 women and young people through skills development and workforce training programs. That same year, she participated in the Peace Through Business Entrepreneurship program at Northwood University and later co-founded and led its alumni association, providing mentorship and training for aspiring entrepreneurs. For more than a decade, she has served as a master mentor and business instructor for the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Women's Program at the American University of Afghanistan. She has trained more than 1,000 women across 9 provinces and mentored more than 50 women-owned businesses. In 2016, she launched My Impressive LLC, a Virginia-based digital literacy marketing company. Her leadership and entrepreneurship have earned her numerous honors in Afghanistan and the United States. Today, she continues this long-standing commitment through Eagle Online Academy, creating opportunities for education, mentorship, and professional development that helps individuals build the skills and confidence to shape their own futures and strengthen their communities. Mojgan, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Rachel, for the amazing introduction. So, good morning, everyone. Our distinguished guest speakers, dear friends, and our wonderful Eagle Online Academy family. Today, we are gathered to celebrate a deeply inspiring milestone, the graduation of 140 resilient Afghan women from Eagle Tutoring Program. The program is opening a bright new door for these incredible graduates. It marks the beginning of their journey as a tutor, empowering them to teach Dari or Farsi and Pashto and our rich culture to the global Afghan diaspora while achieving true financial independence. And I'd like to thank everybody who's joining us today and for being here to honor their strength, dedication, and bright future. I'd like to go through my presentation. Our mission is to connect Afghan women and girls in Afghanistan, as well as displaced and refugee educators with diaspora families worldwide to foster language, learning, culture, and economic opportunities for them. We're also looking to empowering trained female scholars from across Afghanistan displaced communities with very limited available opportunities or even with no opportunities. We are also supporting the Afghan diaspora community in maintaining native language fluency and culture ties. We are providing sustainable, home-based professional teaching opportunities for Afghan women. Here is some numbers. Transforming knowledge into opportunities. Our academy has successfully equipped 140 female scholars with digital instruction and methodology skills. Our graduates are coming from different 22 provinces of Afghanistan, from Pakistan, Bangladesh, Turkey, Kazakhstan, Tajikistan, and United States of America. So, how we are culturally preserving the culture among Afghan diaspora. We are providing the Dari, Farsi, and Pashto classes, and we are also adding some cultural lessons during our tutoring programs. Community bridge building. Actually, we are 100% free matching platform. Eagle Online Tutoring Program serve as a exclusive, as a trusted bridge connecting diaspora families with certified tutors. Our connection at administrative services completely free of charge for both families and tutors. We charge zero commission fee to facilitate direct, empowering community relationship. We also have a direct payment model. We are asking the families to send the money or to send the fee payment monthly direct to our tutors. We also set up a fair rate guidelines fee, a special fee instruction established affordable, standardized monthly rates for families. And this program will provide Afghan women with stable financial independence and dignified remote work. So the program has different phases. We already completed our first phase. Fortunately, 140 women completed our professional online teaching program. And we are just going to launch our platform today. And after that, our diaspora community will be able to start enrolling themselves or their kids to our program. And it will create the sustainable growth goals to empower more than thousands plus female tutors in Afghan diaspora globally. Thank you so much, and thank you for being here. And I just wanna mention this is not the end of the program. Actually, this is the beginning of the journey for our tutors. Congratulations, everyone, and wish you all best of luck. Thank you.
Thank you for giving us that overview. It's going to be exciting opportunity for our young ladies. Now it's my honor to introduce Anita McBride. Anita is an internationally recognized expert on First Ladies in the operations of the White House. She directs the legacy of America's First initiative at American University's Center for Congressional and Presidential Studies at the School of Public Affairs. Her White House experience spans 2 decades and 3 presidential administrations. During her distinguished career in public service, she has served as assistant to President George W. Bush and chief of staff to First Lady Laura Bush. Anita is the co-author of 3 books on the evolving role of First Ladies and the historical influence of First Ladies on the American presidency. Her work includes a first of its kind college textbook, as well as an illustrated children's book. She is also a frequent speaker and media commentator on White House history and presidential transitions. Beyond her academic and public service work, Anita is actively engaged in philanthropic efforts in the United States and around the world, supporting women's leadership, the arts, cultural heritage, historic preservation, veterans' wellness, and civic education. Through her scholarship, public service, and civic engagement, Anita continues to deepen our understanding of the evolving role of First Ladies and their influence on the American presidency at home and on the international stage. Now, let us turn to a chat with Anita and I, and let's learn from her as we delve into her book and the lessons that America's First Ladies have for all of us as women and for our Afghan graduates. Anita, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Rachel, for having me and for this conversation. Can I first say just a word to Mushkan as well? How honored I am to be in her world, in her life, as a friend, as a mentor. I'm reading all of the comments in the chats here of the appreciation that everyone has for what she has created for them. I've known her a long time. She's hardworking, resilient, and obstacles are not something that gets in her way. She finds her way around them and is really helps to make others' lives possible and better. And I'm just so thrilled to see the numbers of people that are on this call, but also have participated in her program, and many more to come.
She is truly a wonderful woman. But so are you. You have done so much in your time. And the book that you have that has recently come out, it's one for the general public. It's quite an amazing and a feat that you and your co-authors have done. Could you tell us a little bit more about it?
hmm Sure. Well, thank you for the opportunity to talk about American First Ladies. Really, it's such an interesting topic in American history because many people don't know, Americans don't know the contributions and the influence that they have had in our 250-year history. The book that we have written with my co-authors that we spent about 3 years researching each First Lady. We cover everyone from our First Lady, Martha Washington, to our current First Lady, Melania Trump. And so it was extensive amount of research and work to really help people understand how this undefined role, because it is not official, there is no position description for it, it's not written into our Constitution, but it is an influential platform. It has no salary, but each person that has come into the role has found a way to use this influence and to use this platform to promote issues that are of interest to them, but also that ultimately can help the country. Now, not everyone has risen to the occasion of using the position, but the majority have, and they've made enormous contributions to the country's history from its founding until today.
Why do you think it's so important for us to understand these legacies and what can we take away from this today for women's leadership in the United States and around the world?
Well, I think the big example is although this is not official position, not defined, no authority really, that there is a desire on the part of each of the occupants to find a way to make it useful and make it mean something. And I think that is an example that resonates with all of us. We are given a chance to make a difference, and it's important to find a way, despite any of the obstacles that may be in your way, to say that I'm going to use my background, my experience, my personal story, my relationships, and my network and help someone. One of the best quotes I can say is Barbara Bush, the first lady who served the former President George H.W. Bush and served in the role from 19 1889 to 1993. On her first day as First Lady, the words that she said to her staff were this. She said, "I want to do something every day that helps people." That was the simple charge that she gave to her staff. Now it was up to them to help her craft a platform that she could use. Barbara Bush believed in education and literacy, and she felt that with an education, people have a better chance in life of having a successful life. So that's what she focused on and held hundreds of events, not only at the White House, but around the country. And found a way to use her passion and what she thought could help people and spread that message.
Thank you. And remarkable and woman, and in terms of what they both have done in terms of education, it's just it's inspiring. You also, I wanted to go back a little bit and talk about, because you mentioned that the role that they've played in America's history, it has no constitutional authority or form or roadmap, yet they fundamentally changed the course of history. When we think about our Afghan ladies, they're it's a different situation, but a similar situation because with the changes and so forth. So for them who are stepping into spaces where they may face severe limitations and have to carve their own paths, what lessons can they take from these historical figures, Mrs. Bush, or the Mrs. Bushes? What can we learn from learn from them?
Well, of course, as you said, the circumstances, of course, are very different. Yet, I do want to, remind people and give encouragement that, progress can sometimes be difficult to achieve. It can be slow, but it is important to be steady and to recognize there are highs and there are lows. And throughout our history, as I was researching these women, I was really struck by how many of them had really faced tremendous grief and obstacles. They faced loss of husbands, loss of children, loss of family members. They faced wars. They faced disease. They faced, things that, we hear about in current times as well. But there's a strength in women and in these women, and I believe in Afghan women, the most resilient women in the world, in my experience, really, and privilege of meeting so many Afghan women, that they don't want to give up, and that their time, on this earth is important, and it's important that they use the moments that they have to make a difference in their own lives, in their families' lives, in their communities' lives, in their country's life, if their country would let them. And the one thing I want to say is, when our country was founded, and our Constitution was written and our Constitution was ratified, there was not one word about women's rights. And there wasn't one word about women's rights for 133 years. It took that long, from 1789 to 1920, for women to gain rights. And once they buy the right to vote was the first. But all along that way, there were women who were pushing up against those barriers. And some of them, many of them, at great personal risk, and also with danger. But they did it because the world has to change and it has to evolve. And even at moments that feel dark, they still and personal loss, that they still persevered, because the eye is always on the future. And that's really what I learned from researching, that these women, that they used their moral courage to really help open up the eyes of others. And that's what I know I see Afghan, women doing every single day. They want better for their lives. They want better for the people around them, particularly their families and communities.
And their pursuit of education has been, it's just unbelievable, given all the constraints in the last couple years. And education, when we think about the women's movement here in the United States and the role that education played in that, when we think about education and how it's historically served as the single most powerful tool for women, um, could you talk a little bit about how that has driven change for America and how the role of the First Ladies in that?
Yeah, sure. No, access to education is a game changer. It's a platform for everything. It's a platform not only to be educated about the world, but to be healthy, to be prosperous, to be engaged in every, sector of society. And, education, of course, was closed to many women in our country as well. A number of our early first ladies were not educated at all. They were educated on things that to do in the home because that was their role as wives and mothers. But some of our first ladies, they had fathers who felt differently and who made sure that they had an education, whether it was privately tutored or different schools that were quietly opening up for women in our young country. But it gave an opportunity as education became more open to women in our country to carve their own path and to start to level the playing field a bit. I mean, it's still not completely level. There are still challenges that gender challenges in our country, but it is fundamentally changed, and it's just taken a very, very long time. I think when women's eyes were open to the world and education opened their eyes, they began to push for more. And we have first ladies in our history that took up the mantle of whether it was voting rights for women or women like Betty Ford in the 1970s who really pushed for the Equal Rights Amendment. It did not pass. It still has not passed. But we have had first ladies on both sides of the aisle, Republican and Democrat, talk about women's rights and women's equal opportunity. It doesn't mean it's equal outcome, but it's equal opportunity. And then it's up to every individual to do their best with what they are given. But education is the source, it's the key. That's why things
Yes.
like this, Eagle Online Academy, and other ways to really press up against the obstacles of a formal education in the classroom. There are other ways to do it, and there are people who are supporting it because they know it's important.
Education has the power to change, and it's in part
That's
because
right.
through education, we're able to find our voice.
That's
And now
right.
you have, you've an amazing career. So when you think about what you've observed in the White House during your tenure there, and the historical research you've done on these ladies, and the way, how did they find their voice? How did they handle, and how did you
Mm-hmm.
find your voice?
Mm-hmm.
How did both you and them, handle the intense pressure and maintain resolve during challenging times?
Well, as the times evolve, different methods of communication evolve as well. Where we went, from just newspapers, where
Mm.
some first ladies in our history would plant anonymous stories about issues so that their voice would be heard, but not in their name. But they found others to do it for them. As radio became a method of communication, and most people in this country did not have televisions in their home, of course, in the 30s and the 40s. I mean, that really just did not come into being until after the Second World War, but they had radio. And we had first ladies in our history like Lou Hoover and Eleanor Roosevelt who used radio broadcast to talk to Americans, but also to talk to women, and particularly when the war had had started, when World War II had started, and Eleanor Roosevelt would give strength and courage to women who were sending their husbands and their sons off to war. So they found a way to use their voice with the method that was available to get a message across and to give courage to people and to give strength. As technology has changed, so has access to communication. Some first ladies were not comfortable with being in the media and using the press. Bess Truman was not. She gave one press conference and never did another one. She was very uncomfortable with the press intruding on her private life. And we can understand that, but it was so she found other ways to through others that worked for her uh, to get her message out. But then, of course, now we have first ladies who have been very comfortable on the public stage, like Hillary Clinton, who, gave a famous speech in 1996 about women's rights, and it really was heard all over the world. Um, After 9/11, Laura Bush did something no first lady had ever done. She used the president's platform, the presidential weekly radio address, to talk to Americans and to talk to people around the world about Afghan women after the terrorist attacks of 9/11, which is 25 years now in 2 weeks. She used that method of communication to open the world's eyes to what was happening to Afghan women. And American women honestly heard about this for the first time and wanted to do something to help. So it really using, the methods of communication that are available to you, having the courage to speak out, sometimes at great risk and at great peril, but are examples of moral courage that you hope makes a difference in the lives of others. In today's world, with the technological advances that are moving so fast, and how the internet has made the world so small now, and of course AI, rapidly developing AI technologies, it's hard to keep pace with it. But I think the point being is that methods of communication are there, and powerful personal stories really do matter. They remind people of what others around the world are facing. And we need to hear that from the women themselves, but others who are willing to speak out for them. And that's first ladies have done that throughout our history.
I'm going to pull on that and the story part because stories are a powerful way
Right.
to be able to strategically use communication to get our women's voices heard. And so, are there particular stories that that you uncovered while you're doing your research or your tenure in the White House that truly stood out to you, and what lessons that our women, our Afghan women today, could take from those stories?
Mm-hmm. You tend to see the most poignant examples, of course, are in times of crisis and when no one could prepare you uh, truly for how to respond, whether it's the terrorist attacks of 9/11, the bombing of Pearl Harbor, the natural disasters that we faced here, Hurricane Katrina and Rita in 2005, the largest natural disaster our country has ever faced. And eh, how these women in their leadership, even though unofficial leadership positions, responded in the words of comfort that they gave to people who were suffering. That, I think, is some of the most profound examples. And I think of people like Mary Todd Lincoln during the American Civil War. She had members of her family who were fighting against the Union, fighting against the country, while her husband's trying to preserve the country. But what she would do and go and visit with wounded soldiers and write messages and letters home to their families because they couldn't do it. That courage that she had, again, using her voice and using her platform for others, these are really remarkable stories. And I think of Laura Bush on 9/11. She was on Capitol Hill about to give testimony about education and how important
Mhm.
education is for young children and that we get this right. And then the terrorist attacks happened. And so that was postponed. But a reporter asked her, Mrs. Bush, what do we say to the children? And she said that we have to tell them that they are safe, that they are loved, and that there are bad people in the world, but there are more good people than there are bad. And then she wrote a letter to every single school child, to every single school in this country after 9/11, and really appealing to teachers and to families to make that a safe haven and to make that a sanctuary. I mean, those are really profound stories of, I think, when people are in their darkest moments, that they don't feel forgotten by their leaders.
And so, for our Afghan women, what what should they take away from that? What should they learn? What can they
Yeah.
implement?
Yeah, they're already doing it. They are showing
Mm.
that despite the hardships, despite the obstacles, despite those who will try to marginalize their role in society, that they're finding ways to keep the momentum and to show their courage and to keep improving their lives. And hopefully there are more Moshgans of the world that are making these opportunities possible for them. They're not going to let dark forces stop them from improving their lives and really improving the lives of their families. I think the courage and the resilience that they exhibit is something so profound and really something that people like myself, like you, like others that are supporting Online Academy have to keep talking about. We draw strength from their courage, and I want them to know that.
They do. And in fact, when you think about it, because this is we're doing the graduation for the tutoring
That's
program,
right.
and these ladies, they're going to walk away from this, and they're going to be teaching others, and
That's right.
reaching out to not just other Afghan women and girls in Afghanistan, but all across the globe.
That's
That's
right.
that's that's
It's a
truly walking in
power
the
of
steps.
one, and it's a
Yes.
multiplier effect. And they are having a multiplier effect. Absolutely. Each person can make a difference because you're building a pipeline of other educated people, giving them an opportunity. And who knows what each individual could rise to, what role of leadership personally, but on a grander stage. There are heroes and heroines out there everywhere.
And I know that, and going back a little bit here to Mrs. Laura Bush, I know that she's still very much actively involved in supporting Afghan women in education, as is Dr. Clinton. Could you tell us a little bit more about what their efforts are with what they're doing in the context of the U.S. women, U.S. Afghan
Afghan
women?
Women's Council. Yes, well, and you mentioned that, and how Mushkan is a member of that and an active participant because she brought to the table a program that is working, and that's what the council. It was founded in 2002, again after the terrorist attacks of September 11th, and that this was founded to be as a public-private partnership, bringing the U.S. government, at that point the Afghan government, and the private sector, particularly in the United States, to really form partnerships to help rebuild Afghanistan and really rebuild it for its women and give them the opportunities to engage in rebuilding education system, rebuilding a health system, access to judicial system, and access to being fully functioning participants in elective office if that's what they wanted, in their government. And so these were the critical um, pillars, if you will, that were really identified by Afghans themselves. Let's remember this was an educated Afghan society. Women had been denied an education for that, unfortunate period of time, but they had been well educated before that. And they know what they needed. They know how they contributed before. And so this was an attempt of the council to rebuild that. It takes a long time to rebuild a society. You can decimate it overnight, but rebuilding it we knew was going to take time, and it was going to take all forces working together. Mrs. Bush was the honorary chair of the council. She really was focused mostly on the education piece. There were a number of things that were implemented under her leadership. The women's dormitory at Kabul University was one of them, so that women could come and be educated at university again. Their families would feel that they were safe. But she was sensitive to the cultural nuances that were so important to make all of this successful. The council operated the entire time of the 8 years of the Bush administration, and at the end of the administration we knew we needed to find a place for it to continue to operate, because there was no guarantee that the new Obama administration would keep it. So it was moved to Georgetown University so that it had an academic home and it had support from the university. Mrs. Bush continued to be honorary chair. Secretary Clinton joined. Also, now she was Secretary of State. She cared about Afghan women. And in fact, as Secretary of State, she would not allow Afghan delegations to come for official meetings to the U.S. State Department if women were not on the delegation. So there were ways, again, that both Mrs. Bush and Mrs. Clinton used their platform, used their notoriety, if you will, to keep the pressure on. And so they teamed up as two former First Ladies, one in an official position now as Secretary of State, one in a private citizen mode, but they continued to work together. And the council now has been regrouped as an organization under the George Bush Presidential Library. So Mrs. Bush is still involved, still engaged, trying to continue to shine a light on what Afghan women are doing to be as fully functioning members of society if they can, and to remind them that there are people here that still care about them.
We do, and thank you so much for that. If you could, one last word or a sentence for our Afghan ladies today.
Oh, well, I want them to know we draw strength from them, just their resilience and their courage to keep going. Don't give up. These dark moments are not the way that it needs to be and will be forever. I'm confident of that. And I thank them for their willingness to improve their lives and their families' lives. And I want them to know there are many, many of us who are with them and won't forget them.
Thank you so much for this, Anita.
Thank you.
I now would like to turn the tables a little bit, and I want to introduce Ambassador Yusuf Ghaforzai. Ambassador Ghaforzai is a career diplomat with more than 2 decades of experience in multilateral diplomacy, international policy development, and strategic engagement across the United Nations system. He has served as ambassador of Afghanistan to Norway and as a non-resident ambassador to Denmark and Iceland, where he worked to strengthen cooperation in support of peace, stability, sustainable development, and democratic governance. He also worked closely with Norwegian institutions in support of Afghan peace efforts. A significant portion of his career has been dedicated to the United Nations. During several assignments, United Nations Permanent Mission to the United Nations in New York, including as personal counselor, he worked on issues involving peace and security, conflict resolution, counterterrorism, international rule of law, and the mandate of the United Nations Assistance Mission in Afghanistan. He's also served as an advisor on international affairs at the Afghan Foreign Ministry, contributing to policy formulation on regional and global issues. Ambassador Ghaforzai's own work in support of peace has a notable parallel in his family history. His father, former Afghan Prime Minister Abdul Rahim Ghafurzai, was serving on a peace mission when he died in a plane crash in 1997. Later that year, the United Nations General Assembly held a special session honoring his life and legacy. Across his diplomatic career, Ambassador Ghafurzai has contributed to strategic dialogue on peace, human development, democratic governance, and other pressing global challenges. Ambassador, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Rachel. Thank you for the very kind introduction. Let me start by first thanking Honorable Anita McBride for her very useful information about her upcoming book. Secondly, her very, I think, important perspective on the way in which women's leadership and empowerment progressed from the U.S. Historical perspective. And thirdly, of course, for her support for Afghanistan for many years now. I think naturally, as time goes by, I think oftentimes it's easy to forget the past. But I think it's very obvious that in 2001, after the tragic events of 9/11, international engagement led by the U.S. really helped form the foundation for a new Afghanistan. And I think that really was a catalyst for enormous gains being made by Afghan women throughout the 2 decades of experience prior to the Taliban's takeover. Let me also thank Manija Wafiq, CEO of Eagle Online, for the invitation to be part of this important event. We're celebrating the graduation of 140 Afghan women and girls from Eagle's Tutoring Program. It's obvious that by completing the program, these graduates are now more skilled and able to make better use of their knowledge to support families in the very large Afghan diaspora community abroad, while also earning an income. But more broadly, I want to commend Eagle Online for helping fill part of a very dangerous gap caused by the Taliban's decision to close girls' schools beyond 6th grade. And unfortunately, I use the word alarming intentionally because of the obvious reason that denying knowledge and education to half the population of any country presents a serious threat to the future of that society. And also because education is not just about subjects. It is a necessity to build skills and ability to contribute to families and communities. For 5 years now, Eagle Online is providing virtual education to Afghan women in different parts of Afghanistan. But it has also extended education to women of other nationalities whose countries are also facing difficulty and instability. I believe the platform deserves praise and recognition, but more importantly, continued support so that it is able to continue providing educational support for those in need, whether in Afghanistan or anywhere else. I was also very glad to hear that today's event marks the launch of the tutoring program. I see this initiative as something beneficial for both Afghan women and girls inside Afghanistan, but also for the families in the diaspora community who want to see their children and youth stay connected to Afghanistan's language, heritage, and identity. I believe the initiative is particularly important for several reasons, but I just want to highlight 2. First, the connection between education and employment. We are all aware of the situation resulting from the Taliban's ban on girls' education and employment. But let me briefly refer to some figures. According to UN Women, the labor force for Afghan women has reduced to 5 to 7%, and about 78% of the young Afghan women do not have access to education, employment, or even training. Unfortunately, the ban on women's employment covers civil service sector, governmental offices, NGOs, aid agencies, and even public businesses. The tutoring program is uniquely important in that it provides opportunity for Afghan women to bypass the Taliban's restrictions and earn an income from home, leading to economic self-reliance. Remote work will provide one of the few available pathways to economic participation. Obviously, Afghan women can use the income to invest it in their families and to support their children's education, healthcare, and household needs. This initiative will also create a connection between educated Afghan women and girls and the very large diaspora community outside Afghanistan. On the other hand, at a time when Afghanistan faces a severe humanitarian crisis, the program gives an opportunity for the diaspora community to be an important source of economic support for families and fellow Afghans inside Afghanistan. So I see the program to be a win-win situation. Coming to my second point, the program is useful in helping preserve culture and empower the youth for the future. Maintaining a strong connection to one's homeland is important for anyone who has migrated abroad, be it out of circumstance or from choice. The tutoring program enables the youth in the diaspora to learn their language and stay connected to their country, culture, and heritage. It will also empower them with a sense of confidence to become the next generation of ambassadors of culture and community, but also to contribute to the future. Every Afghan woman who is able to use her education productively is making an investment in Afghanistan's human capital. In other words, women's economic empowerment today will help develop the skills that are needed for Afghanistan's future development. Afghanistan is a young country. We should not forget that more than 60% of the population is below the age of 25. And I want to repeat that. More than 60% of the population is below the age of 25, and the youth represent a hope for the future. We all know that tens of thousands of Afghan families, including those with young children, came to the United States in the aftermath of the Taliban's takeover in August 15, 2021. Many of the children and young people who resettled are part of the same generation that represents Afghanistan's future. Learning the language is necessary to form the foundation that is needed to contribute to Afghanistan's future through civic engagement, humanitarian work, expertise, or even leadership. And I want to mention that this is something that we have seen in the past. In 2002, after the collapse of the first Taliban regime, thousands in the Afghan diaspora community returned to Afghanistan. Many took up important roles as experts, consultants, and professionals with international organizations, non-governmental organizations, and even government ministries. They were able to do so because they had the foundation which came from culture, language, and a good understanding of local dynamics. But this is also something we are seeing now, even in the present situation. Of course, we all know that Afghanistan, sadly, is now facing a very deep crisis, humanitarian, human rights, and political. The absence of a credible, inclusive, and legitimate government has, one, prevented the world community to engage with Afghanistan in a normal manner, and two, resulted in the country losing its rightful place in the global family of nations. But even in this very difficult environment, the people, especially the youth, have not been silent nor passive to the situation. A new generation of Afghans from every ethnicity and from every part of Afghanistan are doing what they can to help bring positive change. This talented group of professionals, activists, women leaders, students, and entrepreneurs are not just the youth who left Afghanistan after 2021. Many of them come from the network of professionals who have lived outside Afghanistan for decades. They are active, making their voices heard. They're holding meetings, engaging with governments and organizations where they live, and giving important recommendations for a solution to Afghanistan's crisis. And I have to say that one very important message that is being conveyed is that more focus is now needed to address the source of Afghanistan's crisis, that being the lack of a credible, inclusive, and legitimate government that is needed for stability now and in the future. So it is hoped that the 5-year mark of the Taliban's return is not just something merely symbolic, but a time when countries and international organizations begin a new strategy that leads to peace, human rights, and stability in Afghanistan. And naturally, the United Nations should have that lead role in that effort. To conclude, let me say to the 140 graduates of the program, congratulations on completing the Eagle Tutoring Program. The achievement goes above and beyond something very personal. It is also a sign of your strength and commitment that each and every one of you displayed by not giving up and continuing to develop your skills for your own benefit, but more importantly, for the benefit of the young and new generation of Afghans living abroad. You will be building new architects of change, and this will have a long-term impact. Once again, I want to thank Mujgan Wafiq and her colleagues at Eagle Online for the important work that they do in support of Afghan women and girls and connecting education, economic opportunity with the diaspora. As a final point, I think it's obvious that without the support that's been provided from the international friends of Afghanistan, including those who are part of today's event, Eagle Online's important work would not be possible. So on that note, we want to again thank Honorable Anita McBride, Dr. Rachel Rudolph, Dr. Lauren Oates, and Roxanne Kaufman for their long-standing friendship and support for Afghanistan, especially Afghan women. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ambassador Gafazai. Now, I want to turn to introduce Mrs. Spashmi Nasiri. Spashmi Nasiri is an experienced immigration attorney and the founder and principal of attorney of the law office of Spashmi Nasiri PC. For more than a decade, she has helped individuals and families navigate the U.S. immigration system. Her practice includes family-based immigration, asylum and refugee claims, deportation defense, and naturalization. She's an active member of the American Immigration Lawyers Association and serves on the American Bar Association's Commission on Immigration. Beyond her legal practice, Mrs. Nasiri is deeply committed to immigrant rights, community advocacy, and public service. She has dedicated significant time to providing pro bono legal services and advocating for immigrant and refugee communities, particularly those facing barriers to legal representation and access to justice. She also serves on the boards of the Council on American Islamic Relations and Afghan American Community Organization. Her service has earned her numerous honors, including induction into the Alameda County Women's Hall of Fame, recognition in the Congressional Record for her pro bono service to the Afghan community, and recognition from the American Immigration Lawyers Association. Through her legal practice, advocacy, and public service, Mrs. Nasiri continues her commitment to immigrant rights, access to justice, and strengthening immigrant, refugee, and Afghan American communities. Mrs. Nasiri, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Good morning, salam and salam alaikum, everyone. It's an honor to be here with all of you, and thank you sincerely to my co-panelists and Mishgan John for this wonderful invitation. When I got it, I was truly honored to be able to speak with my fellow Afghan women across, the United States and the world. When we talk about issues about women rights and advocacy, we speak about issues that are deeply personal to me, and I'm honored to see 140 graduates around the world. These issues are not only important to me because I'm an Afghan American, but as someone who has spent much of my work working with immigrants and Afghan families and advocating for women. When we talk about empowerment of women, we often talk about education, and rightfully so. Education opens doors, but education must also lead to opportunity, employment, financial independence, and the ability for women to determine the course of her own life. Particularly for Afghan women, this conversation has an even greater urgency today. Afghan women and girls are living under extraordinary restrictions, not only on their education, but employment movement, participation in public life. A generation of young women who grew up believing that they could be doctors, lawyers, teachers, engineers, journalists, entrepreneurs, and leaders are now being told that those dreams are no longer available to them over the course of the last 5 years. We cannot allow the world to become accustomed to that reality. Afghan women are not asking for special treatment. They're asking for the basic human opportunity rights to learn, to work, and to provide for their families, and to use the talents that Allah has given them. And we should remember that when you empower one woman economically, you rarely empower only one person. You strengthen the entire family. She invests in her children. She supports her family. She contributes to her community. And when thousands of women have those opportunities, they strengthen the entire society. That is why those of us in this diaspora have a special responsibility. As an Afghan refugee, he came here at the age of 5. And I lived without my mom for about 7 years while she was in a refugee camp in Afghanistan. It's more important for me personal to share those responsibilities. While we continue to advocate for the rights of women and girls in Afghanistan, we must also create opportunities for Afghan women wherever they are today. We need to mentor young women. We need to open professional networks. And this organization has done tremendously that very work that we're looking for. And sometimes empowerment begins with something as simple as telling a young Afghan woman, you belong in this room. Your voice matters. Dream bigger. But economic success alone is not enough. As our community establishes itself across the United States and around the world, we also have another responsibility, preserving who we are. As a mother of 3 children, I can attest to that. Our children can be fully American, proudly Afghan at the same time. These identities don't have to compete with one another. And I believe one of the most powerful ways to preserve that identity is through language. Pashto and Dari are more of the common languages spoken in Afghanistan. They carry our history, our humor, our poetry, our expressions of love and respect, our family stories, and our collective memory. As a young child growing up speaking both Pashto and Dari, we gain something that cannot easily be replaced. As children learn, they can speak directly with their grandparents, they can understand the stories of their parents, and most importantly, they can connect to generations that came before them. Now, I understand how difficult this can be for our diaspora families. Our children are growing up surrounded by English. Parents are busy working and rebuilding their lives. Sometimes speaking English at home is simply easier. And I will say I attest to that myself. But preserving our language requires intention. Speaking Pashto and Dari with your children, encourage grandparents to speak with them. Teach them where their parents and grandparents came from. Not only about the painful history of Afghanistan, but also its beauty, its hospitality, its poetry, and its resilience and extraordinary cultural richness. Afghan women have endured war, displacement, migration, poverty, tremendous restrictions as they continue to date. And yet they continue to educate their children, support their families, build businesses, lead organizations, pursue professionals that were not unheard of, that were unheard of before, and advocate for one another. This week alone, history was made in the United States. We have our first female Afghan American Congresswoman, Aisha Wahab, who's my senator, proudly an Afghan American who was born here. My hope is that the next generation of Afghan women will not have to choose between success and culture, between independence and family, but being American or being Afghan. I truly believe they all can be same thing at one time. And perhaps that is one of the greatest things that we can give our children. Roots strong enough to know that where they come from, and wings strong enough for them to go wherever they want to go with it. At a time when Afghan girls inside Afghanistan are being denied so many opportunities, every Afghan girl elsewhere who enters a classroom, graduates from university, starts a business, becomes financially independent, and learns Pashto and Dari and carries her heritage proudly is sending a powerful message. What is that message? Afghan women will continue to learn. Afghan women will continue to work. Afghan women will continue to lead. An Afghan woman will never allow their dreams or their identity to disappear. And I hope that I leave this inspiration with many of my sisters here and abroad. Thank you, and it's an honor to be here with all of you.
Thank you, Mrs. Nasiri. It was an honor to have you with us and to listen to your words. I want to now turn to Dr. Lauren Oates. Dr. Oates is the Executive Director of Right to Learn Afghanistan, formerly known as the Canadian Woman for Women in Afghanistan. She has extensive experience working in education and gender equality, particularly in war-affected countries. Throughout her career, Dr. Oates has worked with development organizations, multilateral agencies, and governments to design, plan, execute, and evaluate programs in these areas. Her experience also includes authoring UNICEF's 2012 Afghanistan Multiple Indicator Cluster Survey. Her work in education in Afghanistan also includes serving as co-chair for the Alliance for the Education of Women in Afghanistan. The Alliance brings together more than 130 education providers working to advance sustainable systems of quality education for Afghan women and girls. She has received multiple awards and distinctions, including a Queen's Diamond Jubilee Medal awarded by the province of British Columbia. Through her leadership and work in education and gender equality, Dr. Oates continues her work to advance sustainable systems of quality education for Afghan women and girls. Dr. Oates, the floor is yours.
Thanks. Well, hello, everyone. It's such a pleasure to be here with you today. When I was thinking about the milestone the women we're celebrating today have reached and about the goal of women's economic empowerment, I was reflecting on how it's been quite a long time that there's consensus that this is a valuable goal. Everyone seems to agree we want to get there, but we just haven't always been sure how. And I was thinking about when I first came to Afghanistan back in 2003, the Taliban had been out of power for 2 years, and there was this palpable excitement about the return of education for women and girls. Public schools had reopened the previous year for girls, and there were literacy programs opening for adult women. And everywhere I looked, there were tailoring programs for women. And I thought, wow, Afghanistan will have a lot of tailors. And as the years went by, tailoring programs appeared to be a favorite approach of both international and national NGOs alike when it came to enabling women's economic participation. And I thought to myself, surely women can do more than tailoring. I understood that this was familiar for organizations. It was accessible in terms of launching a program quickly. But at the same time, it seemed like perhaps there was a need for some diversification of the skills training programs on offer. And there just seemed to be a lack of creativity when it came to asking the question, what are women capable of? How can they make money? What skills among women will drive the economy forward? And crisis has a way of triggering innovation. And I think this audience knows all too well the human rights tragedy gripping Afghanistan, the injustice facing women and girls, and the deplorable conditions in the country at this time, which are steadily worsening. So instead of talking about that, I want to draw attention to something less visible. And that's the remarkable innovation that is now occurring in organizations like Eagle Online Academy. But it's occurring very discreetly, without fanfare, with little budget, often reliant on volunteers, and a lot of bootstrapping. Leaders like Majgan understand the problem facing her countrywomen, and so better solutions are being innovated. Instead of tailoring and carpet weaving, these learning programs are helping women access the digital economy, remote work opportunities, an advancement that is responsive to their situation and its considerable constraints, but which doesn't underestimate the capability of the women of Afghanistan, and which recognizes they don't have the luxury of waiting. They are helping women who need to support themselves and feed their families right now. Mojgan and I both sit on the steering committee of the Alliance for the Education of Women in Afghanistan. And as you heard, that's a community of more than 130 organizations, all delivering alternative education programs to women and girls in Afghanistan who've stepped in with these alternatives in response to the ban. And they chose to come together as a formal network to share information, work together, and collaborate in the face of a problem that it became clear no one organization can tackle alone. And we're 5 years into this now. So 5 years into the education crisis, a common concern is emerging as many organizations now have whole cohorts of students who have completed programs of study and skills training programs, and they've graduated. And the concern is, where do they go from here? Where are the jobs at the end of the education and training pipeline? How will this education practically improve their situation right now? And this is the neglected gap. Despite the education ban, There are hundreds of virtual learning opportunities, as well as face-to-face skills building and vocational training programs in country, led by NGOs, schools, and private individuals and others. But few of them are designed with the question in mind, does this align with the current employment market for Afghan women? Because that market is very distinctive and it's also poorly understood. And the challenges and the opportunities aren't immediately obvious. Eagle Online Academy's tutoring program is a brilliant marriage between demand and supply. They saw a market opportunity, Afghan women outside of Afghanistan who want their children to learn their mother tongue, and women who can do this work from where they are if armed with a bit of training and a computer. I think Afghanistan needs less tailoring workshops and more of this. And we can get more of this by supporting Afghan women's market-driven solutions and by recognizing the great talent pool found within the borders of Afghanistan and within its refugee communities. Smart, capable, determined, resilient women who want to learn, who want to work, and who want to both survive gender apartheid in Afghanistan and even to thrive. I'm honored to be among some of these talents today. And in closing, want to say to each of the graduates, we here today see your effort, we see your grit, we see you and your tremendous potential. And so do everyone around you. You are modeling resilience for your children. And this won't be obvious now, but you'll learn it later when you see the people who your children become because of the strong person you are and what you have managed to do during these difficult times. I wish each graduate the very best for their futures, which they have a little bit more control over now. Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Oates. Thank you for being with us today and for sharing some words with our students. I now would like to turn to introduce Ms. Roxanne Kaufman. Ms. Kaufman is the president of the International Stability Operations Association, where she works to strengthen collaboration among industry, government, and international partners in support of U.S. national security and global stability. Her background includes extensive experience in defense and national security. Earlier in her career, Ms. Kaufman supported advanced defense initiatives and later served as Director of Operations and Senior Editor with the Marine Corps Aviation Association. She is also the author of The 100 Years of Marine Corps Aviation History, recognized on the Commandant's Reading List. Building on this experience, Ms. Kaufman leads ISOA's operational execution, governance modernization, and enterprise-wide transformation. Her work includes integral digital capabilities and AI to enhance decision-making, operational efficiency, and member value. She also leads ISOA's global engagement, bringing together government and military leaders, policymakers, and industry executives to address evolving threats and strengthen public-private partnerships. Her work also extends to the Washington Post Intelligence Council on Global Security, where she collaborates with senior leaders to address emerging global security challenges and advance policy-relevant innovation. Through her leadership at ISOA and her experience across defense and industry, Ms. Kaufman continues to advance the collaboration and partnership that support national security and global stability. Ms. Kaufman, the floor is yours.
Thank you, everybody. Good morning. Could you take me off spotlight for 1 minute? Is that possible?
Mojgan, you have the
Show
control.
everybody. Can you show everybody? Is that possible?
Yeah, Mojgan, you have to take me off spotlight. Oh, there we go.
Okay, I'm going to ask a question. First of all, fantastic speakers. This has been eye-watering. Thank you so much. How many are on this call today that are graduating that are the first female in your family to go to school? Give me a reaction.
We got hearts and
There we go.
thumbs.
There we go. Okay. So I just want to say, first of all, thank you for the opportunity to do this. I am a mother of 3 girls and grandmother of 4. When I first started this job, I just thought to myself, and I met Eagle Online and Moshgon and the team, I thought courage, bravery, and resilience should not define a childhood. But how lucky am I to be able to witness this? And no young woman should simply have to be brave to learn. But in the few years that I have been involved, I realized that education does require courage, and it does require fortitude to remain committed to something that is within yourself. You're not going to find it anyplace else. It becomes part of your DNA. And the thirst to keep this going is what I'm going to talk about today. I work in stability operations in all combatant commands around the world. The one thing I know is the power of educating women is a game changer. And I often talk about literacy, but it's not literacy as in reading, it's that women speak a different language. I walk in a room and my CEO, Lieutenant General boss, will approach a problem very different than I do. I want to meet people where they are. I want to get them to yes. That is a whole different learning that I'm going to challenge everybody on this call to figure out in your lives and in your careers. And I think I have 40 examples of that right now, so we don't have to talk about this in the abstract, right? When you go into a room and there's not a path forward, be the doorway, don't be the wall. Figure out what makes you different because you're special. Talking about your DNA and your education is also emotional intelligence. It's learning how to operate in that world. And again, not talking about me, but if you read all the bios, we are very different people. I am looking at Anita, who just hit it out of the ballpark, with her comment saying, you don't need permission to make a difference, things like that. Then listening to the ambassador, looking at from his aspect, and looking at my fellow mom of three. And Lauren, what I will tell you is, as we're celebrating you, you're still all 128 of you are across 22 provinces in Afghanistan. Some of you are out of country. You're still separated by borders, but again, this common literacy that I'm going to pull this through, you're learning and pursuing something bigger. The one saying is when you educate a woman, you educate a generation. Okay? You are here because somebody else, Eagle Online Academy, is giving you that hand up. What you do with that opportunity or need to do is turn around and extend the hand to the next person because that's going to be the difference in the game changer. As an educated woman, you will now be able to have a seat at the table and help affect the decisions made about you and your future. It might not be today, it might not be tomorrow, but please keep the faith. Women around the world now make up 50% of higher learning. Let me say that again. Women around the world make up 50% around the world. Generations of women who fought for these opportunities that now we take for granted. I know you don't, but many people do. You all are living proof that opportunity is still not equal. For that, I am very sad. Though it's a harsh reminder, it's a lesson that the world needs to not forget. In my role as a leader, I take your stories into every room that I go. Although you guys can't enter the room yet, I want you to know that I enter into conversations with people that can make the difference, that leaders who need to know what's at stake. I want them to think of you not as numbers or headlines, but young women with dreams, ambition, and extraordinary desire to learn and achieve great things. Your voices deserve to be heard, and I consider it an extreme privilege to help carry your voices forward. I also look forward to the day when all of you are in the room beside me, really very much. I also want to express my deep gratitude to Eagle Line and Academy and the volunteers, tutors, families. Your team makes this look easy. The countless hours in the care I will tell you, the first time I met Majka, she invited me over to dinner. She had never met me before. I think the vote of confidence in strong female leaders is another sign of emotional intelligence. So again, when there's somebody sitting in the room, you don't know their story, don't tell your story, ask them who they are. Ask them to dinner, ask them to move forward. Again, emotional intelligence. Last, I want to talk about technology. You know, the last speaker touched on this a little bit. Women are woefully behind in technology, woefully behind. Just learning on this platform isn't enough. Move forward in the digital AI world. But Eagle Online Academy has given you this foundation and this amazing base. Few people get to learn online. So while your circumstances at times could be dire, the platform and the voice you've been given are a world-class education. I see it. I'm looking at your reactions when I talk to Mojgan and your board of directors. I tell you, I have the deepest gratitude for all of you. And I have to tell you, I wrote this long speech and I've just done away with it because I'm so excited about this. So one thing I want you guys to remember, your education belongs to you. It travels with you. It can't be confined by a regime, a man, a border. It can't be diminished by somebody else's expectation. Again, it's in your DNA. And once knowledge has opened your mind to what is possible, it's very difficult for anyone to ever close that door again. So be proud today, because I'm proud of you, not because you were courageous or resilient, but because you chose to keep on moving forward. I am honored to celebrate 100 minds or 140 minds, 140 futures, and 140 possibilities for what comes next. Your education has given you knowledge, but your voice will give you power. Please use it wisely, and thank you for your time.
Ms. Kaufman, thank you so much for your passion and your wise words to our ladies. Now let me turn to introducing one of our first tutors, Mastura Darwish. Mastura is a business administration student with a background in computer science. Her interests bring together business, technology, education, community development, and women's empowerment. Alongside her studies, Mastura has gained experience in teaching, communication, coordination, and student support. She is particularly passionate about creating opportunities for women and girls through education and skills development, as well as supporting their meaningful participation in their communities. As Mastura looks toward the future, she hopes to bring these different areas of interest and experience together. Her goal is to build a career that combines business, technology, education, and social impact to contribute to more inclusive and empowered communities. Mastura, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. I hope you're all doing well and had a wonderful day or morning based on wherever you are. And it's a real pleasure to be here and especially to be speaking as one of the 140 graduates of Eagle Tutoring Training Program. Over the past few years, I've become really interested in women's rights, community development, and women's empowerment. And as an individual woman, I knew that no matter how hard I try, I won't be able to cause a positive change alone. So I was looking forward to joining a community that will help me do so. And I believe Eagle Academy is exactly that, a community that creates opportunities for women to learn, to grow, and use their knowledge to make a positive difference in the lives of themselves and others. And when I think about this program, I think about something very simple. Learning is the most valuable when we have the opportunity to use it. Over the past few months, we not only learn about tutoring, we have practiced skills that can take us beyond this program. We learned how to communicate with students, how to explain ideas clearly, how to understand different learning needs, and how to approach teaching more professionally. And today we're taking the next step, which is the launch of the Eagle Tutoring Program. And this gives us the opportunity to actually use those skills. And so we can take something we have learned and turn it into a service that is valuable to someone else. while also creating an income opportunity for ourselves. And I think that's what makes the idea from learning to earning so meaningful. One of the biggest problems of the population of Afghanistan, especially women, is that they are struggling, and there's often a gap between having a skill and having an opportunity to use that skill. And today we have hundreds of thousands of skilled women in different areas such as business, high tech, education, medicine. And despite having knowledge, they don't have the chance to actually use it. So you can be knowledgeable, you can be educated, you can have something valuable to offer, but without access to opportunity, those skills may remain unused. And this program helps to close that gap. It connects trained Afghan women with Afghan families living in diaspora who are looking for tutors. And I think there's something particularly valuable about this connection because we understand the community that we're serving, and we understand the importance that families place on education. And at the same time, we are gaining experience and building our own professional paths. So for me, that is the most practical aspect of this program. And in this journey, we will definitely have students who learn quickly and students who need more time. We will have lessons that go exactly as planned and lessons that do not. And we will make mistakes, receive feedback, and hopefully become better tutors because of those experiences. And I think that it's an important part of our professional growth, and we should not expect ourselves to be professionals and perfect from the day we begin, but we should expect ourselves to keep learning. There's also a bigger picture here because when 140 Afghan women and girls gain a skill on opportunity to use that skill, those 140 people, they can support students. Those students are connected to families, and so the knowledge and experience we gain can continue from moving one person to another. And I also think that it's important to recognize what this opportunity represents for us as women, which is economic independence. It does not happen from just one opportunity alone. It is built over time through education, skills, experience, in access to meaningful work. So this program gives us one opportunity to begin that process. And I really don't want to take more of your time. Finally, I want to thank Eagle Online Academy, our trainers, and everyone who made this program possible. It's great to celebrate something you have accomplished, and now we have the opportunity to use what we learned. And hopefully that will take us from learning to being more independent and professional in the future. And congratulations to all 140 of us, and a huge thanks to all members of the Eagle Academy and the great team that made this possible. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your words, Ms. Dora. As a fellow teacher, I will tell you, as a teacher, we never stop learning. So each time you teach a class, each student you have, the more you learn from them and the better you get. Just keep learning. Thank you so much, love. All right, I would like now to turn over to introduce Zahra Salimi. Zahra is a recent medical graduate with a passion for healthcare, global health, and education.
Perfect speaking, and I think your speaking skills are really good. I think.
Zahra, we lost you. Are you back? Okay, welcome. Go ahead.
Thank you, Rachel, for giving me the floor. Hello, everyone. I hope you're all doing well. And first of all, I would like to thank all of the honorable guest speakers for giving very motivational and encouraging speeches and messages. I really appreciate that. This is Zahra Salimi, and I am one of the graduating students of Eagle's online tutoring program. And it's an honor for me that today I'm going to represent my fellows and speaking behalf of them. Before going to the talk that why did I join this program and how does this program affected me, I want to take this moment and express my sincere congratulations to all of my fellows, and I just want to tell them that it's not the end, but it's the beginning of a beautiful journey, and wishing them further successes in their future endeavors. As mentioned, 140 women and girls across the all provinces of Afghanistan and also abroad from Afghanistan participated in this program. We all came from diverse backgrounds, from different experiences, and also even from different locations. But one similar thing that we all have is that we all have one shared goal, which is to build our futures. An Eagle online tutoring program made this possible by training the tutors first and then connecting them with the diaspora communities and helping them to use their knowledge and use their abilities to have an active part in the society. And I really appreciate and I want to thank this program because it gave us such a hope that we are not passive members of our community, but despite of that, that we don't have any job opportunities, or there are limited job opportunities for Afghan women, but we can work and we can have an active participation even from the comfort of our homes. Also, this program wasn't just a training for me. It wasn't just a program that trained us to be tutors, but it was far more than that because I learned so many lessons throughout this program. I learned patience. I learned how to be supportive with my other fellows during the hardest and the most difficult times. And one most important lesson that I taught, and I don't want to miss that, is that we are not limited by our circumstances, and we should always believe on ourselves. And I would like to take this moment and thank all of those who made this program possible, especially our dear instructor, Ms. Mujgan, which she wasn't just like an instructor or mentor for us, but she was always there for us when we needed support. And she gave us hope during the times that we were desperate. Thank you so much. And also I would like to thank Eagle Online Academy's board members, supporters of this program, who supported this program directly and indirectly, and also the sponsors and those who funded this program. Thank you all for making this program possible. And at the end, I just want to end my talk with one last quote for my fellows: that never underestimate what you're capable of becoming. Thank you again for giving me the opportunity, and congratulations to all of us.
Thank you so much, Zahra, for sharing with us your words and support for all of them. I'm impressed with you and impressed with everyone. I now would like to turn the floor back over to Mojgan for the tutoring program and bringing things to an end.
Yeah, thank you, Vishal, and thank you, everyone. I'm feeling so emotional right now because I think I don't need to say anything. So our two tutors already shows their talents, their understanding, and how they are well educated. And I understand that they deserve a lot of better and amazing jobs, but still tutoring is also one of those. So thank you, our amazing speakers. And now it's the time that we are going to launch our page for Eagle Tutoring. And I'm sure everyone is ready, right? So yeah, definitely I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to just share our page, and it's the first day that it will be live, and it will allow our diaspora community to start enrolling their kids there. So, or themselves, of course. So I'm going to launch this page, and congratulations to everyone. and I'm so excited. So this is our page, and we have it's just went live last night, and from today we are ready to accept the students for our tutors and connect our tutors with our diaspora community. So thank you so much. And I understand the time is too short, and we already behind our schedule. So I'm just going to share our certificates, and I would love to invite our speakers one by one to read the names of our students and share their certificates. So I don't know if Anita is still here. I'd like to invite Anita to read a few of our student names, and then I'll be happy to invite the next speaker.
Sure. Yes, I'm here. Shall I read the entire certificate or just the name?
Not just the name, just the names, yeah.
Oh, wonderful. Okay. Well, I'm proud to say Farima Kair Kwa as a graduate of Eagle Online Academy.
Thank you.
And
Next.
Sidra Ramani.
Thank you. Congratulations, Sidra John. And next.
Aisha Salimi.
That's wonderful. Thank you, Anita. Thank you. Congratulations, Aisha John. Next.
Atifa Dashti.
Congratulations, Atifa John. Next.
Bibi Arizo Hayat.
Thank you. Congratulations, Bibi Arzuayat. Thank you so much, Anita. I'd like to invite Yusuf Ghafurzai for the next few certificates. Yusuf John, are you here? Can you hear me? Okay. Okay, so I think we went behind the schedule. Maybe he already left. So I'd like to invite Roxy. If you could hear me, please read some of our certificate.
I definitely don't want to butcher anybody's name. We already did this one. We already did Bibi
Okay.
Rezo. Bibi Azizma Rahimi.
Thank you. Bibi Azima Rahimi, congratulations. Next.
Bibi Pagzi Rahimi. Pagzia.
Definitely. Bibi Pakiza Rahimi, congratulations. Thank you. And next.
Bibi Soraya. Oh, you're going to have to do that one. Secondary.
Yes, definitely. That's perfect. Yes, congratulations, Bibi Soraya Secondary. Next.
Farnaz Kabar.
Yes, Farnas Kabir. That's perfect. Thank you so much, Roxy. Okay, congratulations, Farnas John, and thank you, Roxy John. We will move to our another speaker. I don't know if Lauren is here.
I'm here. Hi.
Okay. Okay, Lauren. So it's up to you now.
Okay, great. Well, you'll all be able to tell how badly I need the Dari tutors I went hearing, but I'll do my best with pronunciation. So, Farshta Abduli,
Yeah,
congratulations.
thank you. Congratulations, Fashta John.
Fariba Abduli, congratulations. Fatima Sultani, congratulations to you. Fatima Nouri, congratulations. Frashta Abbasi, congratulations. Frozan Habibi, congratulations. Hajira Nuristani, congratulations. Hanana Mirzai, congratulations. Harir Dunyazia, congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Lauren.
Thank
It's
you.
amazing. Okay, congratulations, everyone. So now I'm passing to Rachel. Please read some of our certificate.
Hina Omari,
Congratulations, Hena.
Husna Jabari,
Congratulations, Najan.
Leila Arabshahi,
Yes, perfect. Laila Rabshai, congratulations.
Mansoura Malukzai,
Congratulations, Mansura John.
Mariam Ibadi,
Congratulations, Mariam John.
Marwa Salahi,
Congratulations, Marwa John.
Mastora Darwish,
Congratulations, Masra John.
Mirana Abdadi,
Congratulations, Mehrana John.
Mehri Darwish,
Media John, congratulations. Thank you.
Mushkan Rofi,
Congratulations, Mushkan John.
Mursal Hashimi.
Yeah, congratulations, Mursal John. Thanks so much, Rachel. So I don't know if Yusuf John is here or not. Okay, if Yusuf John is not here, then we have also some guests that they might help us with the read the names. So we have Asila Wardak. So do you wanna help us with reading the certificates? Asila John are you here? Okay, they may left. Banija Wafek, are you here? Manja Wafek, are you here? Okay, so I'm going to read the rest of the certificate. Congratulations, everyone. Mursal Ashimi, Mujda Ismati, Naira Safi, Najia Fakhri, Nasiba Qarizada, Nazanin Nisar Ahmad, Nila Karimi, Parveen Mushtari, Rabia Ayubi, Rangina Jamal, Rakima Farhad, رویدا یعقوبی، سدیه شرفی، سکینه ابراهیمی، صالحه مرزایی، سلما عظیمی، سلما برهانی، سارا غزل جلال، سارا قاطع، سارا زیا، صدیقه بگزاد، صدیقه محمدی، شبانه اکرمی، شیوا برین صافی، سینا جان، سهیلا ایدری، سریا ایدری، طاهره محمدی، تهمینه صافی کریمی، عمانی جان نواز، وجهه یوسفزای، ویده صافی، زحل صافی، عادله عباسی، زهره یمین، زمزمه یعقوبی، زینت نورزای، زهرا کریمی، زهرا سلیمی، طیبه درویش، صدیقه بگزاد، زهرا نادری، سونا کاکر، سویبه روفی، تبسم فاروقی، شبانه اکرمی، سونیا سکندری، ساره شریفی، شفیقه احمدی، سهیده ایاد، سنا شیرزاد، سحر رضایی، سحر صالحی، سدیه شریفی، قدسیه عظیمی، سنا عالمی، ریحانه احمدی، سحر عبیدی، مقدسه یاوری، مسلمه شاه، نگینه ابراهیم خیل، اوریا بکزاد، پروانه حبیبی، مریم ناصری، مروه نورستانی، مرال ندا زیا، مریم فرید، مریم سمیم، منیژه یعقوبی، مدیه آشمی، ملاله یوسفزئی، مریم عبادی، خجسته عالمی، مدیه صافی، خانسا نوری، مدینه قازیزی، لینا ترکی، مروه اکرمی، علیمه نظیر، اینا عمری، جایده ناصری، عریره زدران، امیده رحیمی، فروزان رحیمی، دیانا امرخیل، غزال اصلت، انجیلا انوری، علیمه ادبی، فاطمه قادری، بهاره عباسی، بنین محمدی، بیبی فاطمه ناصری، آمنه اکیمی، آدینه قریشی، بیبی آمنه، بیبی مینا رحیمی، اسما فرمولی، اسما امیدی، بهاره صدیقی، امینه بارگزای. That's all. Thank you so much, everyone. So congratulations to everyone. And thank you everyone for joining. So now floor is yours, Rachel. And I'm so excited for your success and achievement. Thank you. Okay, Rachel, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mojgan, and congratulations to everyone. And good, on behalf of the board of directors, and I wish you the best as you move forward. You're an inspiration to us, and we will continue to be here to support you and help you and walk with you as you move forward and being that little light that shines the light for others who will come to you and to learn from you. I am so proud of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rachel. And I just, Serena now. Thanks, Serena, for joining us. And I should know before to ask you to read some of our certificate. And thank you so much for being here. Thank you. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Enjoy your night and wish you good luck. And we will be in touch. Thank you.
Thank you, Mushkan. Thank you, Rachel. Congratulations, y'all.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Mom, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, my dear teacher.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bushveld. Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Thanks for everything, dear Mushgan.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, dear Manana. تشكر كثير سعد خدافظ. Goodbye.
Bye.
تشکر. خوش داشته باشین.
Thank you, Miss Murjan and
تشکر
Miss
از شما.
Richard.
Thank you, Ms. Mujgana and Ms.
Thank you. Thank you for joining and congratulations, everyone.
Everything, and
Thank you,
I
Miss
hope to know
Mujgan. And
I can help it. Thank you, but I can
Yeah,
help but notice both Miss
yeah,
Miss
actually,
Rachel
Sonia,
look
Sonia,
yellow, but what is your secret?
You were
Sarjan,
breaking.
please stop.
I didn't hear that.
Sarjan, talk.
Answer, I just want to thank you all for everything. And I say that I can't help but notice that you, Miss Mon and Miss Rachel, look very further than before tonight as your secret, but I'd like to know.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Sarjan. Okay, congratulations again, guys. Thank you. Thank you so much. And have a good night.
Take care, everybody.
Take care. Yes.
Mujgan, are we still recording?
Thank you.